So in the last session, where we stopped in the last session, we discussed about modules concept, right? Discussed about modules concept. Okay. So the next level discussion is about just I want to check. Do you know about the difference between normal function and arrow function? In Angular, multiple times we are going to use arrow functions. What is the main difference between normal function and arrow functions? Any one of you?
Lexical scope.
One is like it's like a lexical scope behavior, right? Yes or no? Lexical scope behavior or not? Okay, can you elaborate more? Can we change the context of normal functions? The current object, can we change it? Can we change the context of normal functions? Okay, for example, I have a
Yes.
function is there. Okay, here I have arguments, you can say console.log of this dot x plus a plus b. Okay, if I call my f and 10 comma 20, what's my answer?
Sir, your screen is not shared, it seems.
Not visible. Okay, okay, one second. Are you able to see now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I have a function. Okay, f and a comma b, console.log of this dot x plus a plus b, and this is my f and 10 comma 20. So if I run this one, what exactly the output is? And what?
Not a number.
The output is like exactly this is like a not a number or not a number. Why? You pass like a value and b value 10 20, but this is pointing to what now at this moment? In this
Window.
function, but this is pointing to window or not. Window dot x. In the window, we have x. No, right?
No.
We don't have x by default. So in the object, when property is not there, what is my default value? It's like undefined or not. Undefined plus 10 plus 20. It's like not a number. But my output should be like okay, 30 I want. Okay, or 40 I want. Tell me what changes are required. So my question, how many ways we can call a function in JavaScript? How many
Call apply bind.
we call a function? There is multiple ways, right? Okay, one is like direct call like this. Another one is like what, as you said, using call method, right?
Call apply blind.
The next one is like what? Yeah.
Apply.
The next one is like what? Bind also. These are the four ways we can call a function or not. Okay. So my question is like just I want to call this fn by by using call method. So how we can call it?
Dot. Call dot. Call off.
Okay, this is like call function. Call is like a function only. Call is like a method inside the function class. Yeah. Next.
We can pass an object inside that.
Yeah, you can use this current class object is there. Now by default, it's like a window. Now, by calling this particular function, you can change the current class object or not. Yes or no? Something like this. After that, whatever the values you want to have.
Yeah.
Now, if you come here to inspect console, I have a function fn. Okay, here a comma b. Here console dot log of dot x plus a plus b. This is my actual function. Fn of 10 comma 20. What happened? Not a number. Not a number. Now you can write how many ways we can call this function as you said?
4 ways.
4. Okay, by using apply also. Okay, the next one is like what? Bind. But bind is returns me what?
The
Bind
same function.
one more function or not? One more function. That is like same function only. It is going to return. So if you get one more function, you can call it again. Okay. So the answer is like all are like not a number only. Why? Because here my this is pointing to what? Window. My window dot x is like what? Undefined. Okay. Undefined plus number is like not a number. So I want like proper output like 50. I want. Then the type direct call not possible, right? Why? Because if it is like a direct call, you can pass like two arguments. So those two arguments are like what? A and B. My this dot x, this particular one always pointing to window only or not. So that
Yes.
I want to pass my own object. I want to pass my own object. I want to change my own object. Okay, that means my current object, I want to change it by calling this particular function or not. So how we can change the
You
current
can create
object?
an object.
Using call, right? Using call, we can change the current object or not. So first one is what? Dissolve. Okay. So my current object argument, you can pass it. My current object is pointing the window. I want to make it like my own object. After that, the second parameter is what? It's like a
Rest
rest.
operator.
Okay, you can pass any number of values or not.
Yeah.
You can pass like any number of values. Okay, now if you come here, now we can get the output or not. So why we go for call? By using call, we can call a function by making my own object is available like a current object or not. Okay, so we can change the context of your normal functions or not. Okay, same like this, apply also. Fn dot apply. This is what? My current object argument. My second argument is like an array, okay, not like a rest parameter. Now you can get like output is like 41. The next one is like bind. The next one is like bind. You can take like, okay, my current object is also same, right? Okay, the next one is like what? It's a rest parameter 10 comma 20. But my bind returns me what? One more function so that you can call it. Now we can do the output or not. So my fn is like a normal function. Using call apply bind, we can change the context or not. Using call apply bind, we can change the context or not.
Sir, when we say context, what does it actually means?
But the current context is the current object, you can say.
Okay. And
Okay.
also this call apply bind methods only useful if the function having this kind of, definition like this dot x plus a plus b.
Yeah, if you want, okay, in the past, if you want to change the context, you can say. If you want to change, if you want to place your own object instead of this, that is possible by using call apply bind only or not.
Yeah, yeah.
So calling a function, if you want to change the context, if you want to change the current object value, your own object, if you want to pass, then that time you can go with the call apply. There is no other option, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is like a normal function. I'm able to change the current object. The same function, if I write something like this, okay, if you want simply this, my console dot log of this. My fn, if I call pointing to window, fn dot call, if I write something like this, it is pointing to window of my own object. My own object. That means my current object, we change it or not. When it's possible, if it's like a normal function. For example, I have an arrow function, for example. Okay, I have an arrow function. This is my arrow function. Now console dot log of, okay, this. Whenever you call f, it is pointing to what? Window only or not. Now, four ways I said, right? We can call by using call also or not. Yes or no? Now, if I pass like my current object x10, will it change or not change my current context? My current object will change or not change if it is like a arrow function. If it is like an arrow function, will
It will not change.
will not change. Why? Because arrow functions always owns the next level scope. Okay, the behavior is like a lexical scope behavior. Okay, it is not having its own scope. It is always takes the parent scope or not. Whenever the parent scope is like changed, okay, automatically the scope is going to change. But directly we are not able to change or not the current class object. if it is like an arrow function. Understood the difference? So the same thing is like apply also. The same thing is like for bind also. So that is the main difference. The function, normal function and arrow function. Arrow functions having by default lexical scope behavior. Lexical scope behavior is nothing but it is taking the parent scope as its own scope. Okay. If you want to change the scope, you have to change the parent, not directly this one or not. Yeah. So most of the times we are going to use like an arrow functions in our classes. So the next one, last one. Okay, this one also we are going to use. Do you know about the promises? Promises. Anyone? Why we go for promises? Why we go for promises?
To handle asynchronous operations.
Asynchronous operations. Okay. Which operation, which action you can say like an asynchronous action?
Just like when data came from server.
Okay, take the data from.
And we do not have idea regarding that is it resolve or reject or this type of things, or when it came.
Okay, very simple. Any action you can take it. The action which is coming out of your flow, okay, which is like running or executing individually. That type of actions, what we can say asynchronous actions or not. Okay, let's take one simple example. Let me open Paint. We use this example repeatedly. Just you can see. So, in my college, just we are like conducting like a fest. For that, we need to print some invitation cards. Okay, first of all, if you decide, okay, you are like an organizer. Okay, if you decide like, okay, just if you want to conduct like, okay, one function, what kind of actions you are going to take care. First of all, okay, we are going to decide like what date and venue or not. Sorry, date and venue in general. The next one is what? Okay, is the cultural activities you want. Okay. Any activities. Okay, the next one is like what? I want to invite some guests so that I will have to print some invitations or not. Invitations or not. And finally, once I have the invitations, just I want to distribute, right? Distribute. The next one is like once distributed, one day I'm going to start the program, and then okay, once it is started, obviously it's going to end it. End it. These are the activities I need to take care or not. Okay, among these 7 activities, how many activities like can manage by the college people, organizers? How many are like out of hours, out of college? How many actions are like taken care by some other people? Decide the date and venue. In my college, okay, I'm the organizer, we can decide. Activities, okay, that one also we can decide. We can do some practice and everything, activities we can. But printing the invitation cards, just think, if you want to print the invitation cards, I have to check with some other printing press shops to do this one or not, to do this operation or not. Okay, this is my printing press shop. Sorry, this is my shop. Printing cards. That. Now, the first activity my college people can take care. Second one, we will take care. Third one, we are not the person, we are not able to print the cards. This particular activity taken care by some other person. Who is that guy? Printing shop. The next one is like there has a dependency is there. On the invitation cards, dependency is there. Yes or no? When I can distribute the cards, invitation cards are printed, then only I can distribute. Without distributing, can I start Without distributing the chords, can I start the program? No. So if it is not start, how it's going to end? So the last three is depending upon what? The last three actions are like depending on what? These three actions depending on my third action or not. But this third action, who is like taking care? This third action taken care by whom? This third action taken care by who? Come on. This third action taken care by whom? Huh? Who is taking care of this third action? Shop people, right? Okay. Now tell me, among these six actions, which action is like an asynchronous action? I can say like printing invitations. Why? Because the action which is coming out of your flow is nothing but out of from my college and taken care by some other person or not. Now, as a organizer, as a college student, I don't know how much time it is going to take the print cards or not. Exact time, I don't know that. As a organizer, I don't know whether my shop people can print the cards successfully or not. Also, I don't know. Yes or no? Whether we are going to print the cards, okay, successfully, we can receive the cards or not, we don't know. So one action which is coming out of your flow, you don't know anything about that action, how much time it will take, whether this action is like success or failure also, if you don't know, that kind of actions we can say like what? Asynchronous actions. That kind of actions we can say like what? Asynchronous actions. Understood? Got my point? The action which is coming out of your flow. Okay, I don't know whether this particular action is like how much time it will take. This particular action, how much time it will take, I don't know. Whether it is like success or failure also, I don't know. That kind of actions we can say like a asynchronous action or not. So thus, in my case, the asynchronous action is like what? Printing the invitation cards. So the action with respect to college people, that is like an asynchronous action. The same action with respect to shop people, it's like normal. They are doing their own work. That's it. So one action, according to me, that is like an asynchronous action. The same action, according to some other person, it may not asynchronous, some other action. Okay, it's like a normal action only. Got the point? So with respect to college people, my printing invitation is like a kind of my printing invitations. With respect to college people, my printing invitations, it's a kind of an asynchronous action or not. With respect to college people only. Now tell me, this action, who taken care? Who taken care? Shop people. What my shop people is going to do? Okay, they are going to print the cards or not? Print the cards. They are going to print the cards. Yes. Now tell me, if you want to print the cards, what minimum inputs are required? What are the inputs are required? Come on, how many inputs are required? Number of cards. How many cards you want to print? The next, the text on my card, right? What kind of text you want me to place in your on your card? That particular one also you have to tell or not. So once the print cards taking like these two inputs, okay, here he start printing the cards. Printing cards. After some time, okay, after some time, okay, he may successfully print the cards or the cards like due to some reason. Okay, for example, machine got interrupted. Possibility there or not there? Okay, it's like a failure also to deliver that cards. Possibility is like either successfully he can print, either failure also he can print. Successfully print means that cards, how many you want, that many cards are printed. Failure means, okay, I don't have any cards, so that, okay, 0. Yes. Now, this particular success or failure result, you have to give it back to who? The success or failure result, you have to give it back to whom? Come on.
Caller.
You have to give it back to the college people, right? Okay, here is the caller, we can say. So this is not like a normal function. It is like an asynchronous action, right? According to my college people, this action is like a okay, asynchronous action or not. So asynchronous action results, how many ways we can give it back? Asynchronous action results, how many ways we can give it back? Asynchronous action results, okay, see this. This is my asynchronous action result. Success or failure or secondary. This is the result. Asynchronous action results, how many ways we can give it back? 3 ways we can give it back. Asynchronous action results, we can give it like 3 ways. One is like using callbacks, we can give it. Another one is like using promises, we can give it. Another one is like using observables also. We can give it. One is like using callbacks. Another one is like using promises. The next one is like what? Using observables or not. So with respect to college people, printing invitation is like an asynchronous action. That asynchronous action taken care by shop people. That asynchronous action results, I can get it. I means college people can get it 3 ways. One is like using callbacks, another one is like using promises, and another one is like using observables or not. So using callbacks, how we can? Can anyone? Using callbacks, how we can? Using callbacks, how we can? Anyone?
We can pass as a function to the callbacks.
Yeah, you can write like this, okay? So this is like printing shop, you can say. These are like which kind of function? Function print cards. How many parameters is going to take? How many parameters? Number of cards and a text on the card.
Text.
If you want to give the results back through callback, so I need like 2 extra parameters. One is like successfully to pass your printing cards, SCB. Another one is like failure cards. Some information I want to pass it easy like that. Now here console.log of, okay, received an order, and console.log of started printing the cards on order. Okay, the next one is like console.log of, okay, going on. Okay, after that constant is printed, okay, successfully printed. For example, just I maintain like a flag true. If is printed, I have to give like a success data or not. How we can give the success data? Okay, I want to give like a success data. How many cards you want? These many cards. Else SCB of 0. It's not printed. Here console.log of successfully printed the cards. Okay. Here console.log of not printed. Not printed. Console.log of not printed. This is my print cards. This is my print cards. Okay, na? What is the next one? Who want to call this? Who want to call this method? Who want to call this method? College people, right? So print cards. He has to pass what? 4 parameters. Number of cards, 100 cards I want. Next, text on the card. Okay. The next one is like one success callback. Another one is like failure callback. Two more arguments. The last 2 arguments are like what? What is the type of those 2 arguments? Anyone? The type of those 2 arguments. Based on the uses, SCB you are calling, right? ECB you are calling, right? So that you are calling means that type is what?
Functions.
It's like a function. Your calling means the type is like a function or print cards. Print cards. What happened? One second. Now this is my function. Print cards is my function. Okay, 100 cards I want. Text on my card. The next two parameters is like a one function is like a success. Another function is like a failure or not. Yes or no. Whenever the success one called, it means you received the cards or not. How many cards? These many cards you received. So console.log of received cards. Whenever you received the cards, the next level is what? Console.log of my next level operation is like my next level operation is like distribute, start, and end. 4, 5, 6 actions you have to take care of. Okay, 4, 5, 6 actions you have to take care of. If it is like a failure, console.log of cards printing fail. Cards printing fail. Next, console.log of what? Cards printing failed. Console.log of what? Find some alternate, right? Alternate. Now see. Now received the order and started printing the cards. Going on, successfully printing the cards. Okay, once successful printing the cards, you send that cards, received the cards, and 4, 5, 6 actions taken care of now. So this action is like an asynchronous action. The asynchronous action results we can give it back through callbacks or not. Asynchronous action results we can give it back through callbacks. Yes or no? So for example, if it is like failure, then my is success is like what? False. Now you can call it. Received an order, started printing the cards. Okay, going on, not able to print. Cards printing failed. Find some alternate or not. Yes or no? So, with respect to college people, the invitations, printing invitation is like an asynchronous action that is taken care by shop people. I don't know how much time it will take. I don't know whether it is like gives me success response or failure response. That kind of actions we can say like an asynchronous actions. That asynchronous action results we can get it back. How many ways? Three ways. One is like callbacks, another one is like promises, and another one is like observables or not. So through callbacks we can get the result like this. Asynchronous action result. The next one is like what? Through promises, how we can get the result. Asynchronous action results, how we can get it. Another way is what? Asynchronous action results. Another way through promises, right? So let's go with the promises. Now tell me something about the promises. It's like frequently asked question if you go for any interview. Tell me, what is promise? Anyone? Syntax, tell me, promise syntax. Any one of you? What is promise? Hmm? Let's go and check here. What is promise by seeing this one? Promise is a starts with the capital F. Promise is a
Single class.
class. It's like a functional class or not. In your hand, one class is there. Then what you can do with that class?
We have to
An
create the object and use the properties.
object. Okay, create an object. So I created an object. Whenever I create an object, I got an error. What is this error? By seeing this error, you can understand. What is this error? Come on, what is this error?
It's taking one argument which we are not passing.
Like undefined is not a function. This one, if you see, they're expecting what? Function.
Function
But received what?
undefined.
They're expecting like a function, but they received like what? Undefined or not. So that you can get the error is like what? Undefined is not a function. Undefined is not a function. So here, where you want me to pass? Okay, in this syntax, where is the place? Okay, that means where, in which section you want me to pass? Here, no, here, no, here, no. In this place or not? In this place, you have to pass what? One value. That value type should be what?
Function.
That value type should be a function or not? The value type should be a function. Yes or no? Okay, na? So can I pass the function? Yes, we can pass the function. Now I passed the function, arrow function I passed. Okay, then. The next one is what? You are giving this function to whom? You are giving this function to whom?
Promise object.
Promise, right? Promise class. You are giving this one to
Yeah.
promise. One function you are giving to some other person. What he's going to do? One
He
function.
can call.
You can call, right? If you give a function, you can call it. So this function called by whom? This function called by promise.
Promise
Is
class.
it really called or not? Check it. Is it really called or not? Yes, called, right? While calling a function, there is a possibility is there passing some data. Yes or no? While calling a function, we may pass some data or not. Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes or no? So this function called by promise, my promise may pass some data or not. Okay, which data my promise passed? How many arguments he passed while calling this function? This function called by promise. How many arguments, how many values he passed? That is the question. How many values he passed? Hmm? If you don't know, don't worry. Just randomly put some values. A comma B comma C comma D comma E comma F like that. Okay. Just you can print it like this. A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, how many values he passed? If not passed, what is the default value of the argument? What is the default value of the variable?
Undefined.
So that last one undefined, last but one, third one, second one also. Okay, fourth one and third one also. Last four like undefined. That means these last four they not passed any data. Yes, no? Yes or no? They last four they not passed any data. They passed data first argument and the second argument or not. Now tell me. My promise call this callback. Okay, you passed one function as an argument to another one. We can say like a callback. My promise call this callback function by passing how many parameters?
2.
Two parameters or not. The type is what? Those two parameters type is what? Okay, check it. The type is like what? Functions only or not. So that here my promise call this function by passing two parameters. Those two parameters type also functions only or not. Okay, na? So this is my simple promise syntax or not. Got my point? Okay. Now you have to, the shop people have to send the asynchronous action result through what now? Through promise or not. So that we need a promise object. Callbacks required or not required? Not required. But this time not callback, right? This time through promises or not. Now, if one, where you want to write? Where you want to write? Three places actually. One is like this place. One is like this place. Another one is like this place. And another one is like which place you want me to write your actual business logic? Okay, this print cards is like an asynchronous action. Okay, you have to return the result through promise, so that you have to return it. You have to return that result through promise object. So if you return this one, now see here, if you write the statement here, it is like a unreachable statement. If you place here, then that time, if it is like an asynchronous action stuff, before performing the operation itself, it's going to return. Okay, there is a conflict is there. Something is doing, before that only you are going to give the result. You are doing some action. You are performing some action to get the result. It is going on. Meanwhile, you are sending like what? You are returning some object. So your action, once it is completed, then only you return it or not. So this is also not the right place. For normal actions, okay. For asynchronous actions, no. So which place is that? This is only the place or not? In this place, just you can add your actual stuff. Done? Now here some code changes are required. What are? In the past, SCB and ECB is there, callbacks, but now no. But here there has promise giving me, okay, promise given me two functions, right? One is like A, another one is like B. So can I use those two functions for sending the success data and failure data? Okay, so the first function I want to use to send a success data, most of the times A, B, you can put it, XY, you can put it, but naming convention wise resolve, another one is like reject. Resolve is nothing but it is going to give me the success data. Result is used for to give the failure data. That is your wish. That is your wish. Names can be anything, but naming convention wise, go with this. Resolve and reject. Understood? So now tell me, my print codes returns me a promise. Inside the promise, either you have a success data or failure data or not. Inside the promise, either you have the success data or failure data or not. Understood? Now in this case, my shop people sending the asynchronous action result not through callbacks, sending the asynchronous action result through promise object or not. Sending the asynchronous action results through promise object or not. Agreed? All okay? To hear any questions? Come on. Okay then. Who want to call these print cards now? Who want to call the print cards? Come on, your college people, right? So print cards called by college people. Okay, 100 cards I required and VTS is my text. Now my print cards returns me what? My print cards returns me what? My print cards returns me a promise object or not. Now see, my print cards returns me a promise object. Is print is like failure, just you can make it like success for now. Is printed is like true. My print cards returns me a promise or not. See, received the order, starting printing the cards, going on successfully printing the cards. Okay, successfully printed, that successfully printed cards, he given back to you through promise object or not. So your data is here, not directly. That success data inside the promise object. Now my question is, how you can take the data from the promise object? That is the question. You have the data in the promise object. Okay, so how to take the data from promise object? That is the question. Anyone knows? You have a promise object with success data or failure data, whatever it may be. Okay, if you want to take the data from the promise object, how we can take the data from the promise object?
Return keyword using.
Two ways. One is like using promise class methods like then, catch. Okay, success data then, failure data catch. The next one is like using a keyword called as a await keyword. Yes, okay, this is like a ES6 keyword. Okay, by using await keyword, you can get the result. My promise class contains how many methods? Can you check it? How we can check the methods of a promise class? Come on.
Dot prototype.
Now in the promise class, how many methods are there? Can you spell out? Then is there. Okay, then is one method, catch is one method, and finally is one method or not. Understood? Then catch, finally. Now, if you have a promise object, now see it returns me what? Print codes returns me what? Promise object or not. If you have a promise object, can we call any one of the method based on your requirement? Can we call any one of the method based on your requirement? Okay, which method you want me to call? Any one of the method you can call based on your requirement. Which method you want me to call? Either success or failure data, I don't know. Nah? So success data you can hold with then, failure data you can hold with catch. Either success or failure if you want to perform some operation, for example, cleanup operation kind of, then you can go with the final. So from the promise object, I want to use then to get or receive the success data from the promise object. So my then is what? It's a method. So can I call it? Yes. Whenever you call, now see my promise object dot then also returns with the same promise object. My then return type is what? Promise object. See, my promise dot then I called and it gives me what? Promise object. My then, not only then, my catch also returns me the promise object, and finally also returns me what? A promise object only or not. That means my promise class has 3 methods. These 3 methods, if I call, they returns me a promise object. Again, they returns me a promise object only. Okay, that means every call they are going to give you promise object. If you want, if you have some work with the promise object, you can do it. If not, leave it. You are giving something to me. If I want, I can use it. Otherwise, just I'm going to ignore it. My then catch finally returns me what? Promise objects. If you want, you can use it. Okay. Okay then. Now I have a promise object. Success data is there, fulfilled or rejected, okay, pending, these are the statuses in the promises. So my promise object dot then it returns me promise object. I don't want that one. Now see, success data, failure data you can hold by using the callback. So whenever my promise object has a success data, my then this function is going to call by passing your success data. Now see, I have the 100 cards or not. Once I have the 100 cards, I can distribute the cards or not. If it is like a failure data, if my promise object has failure data, my promise object has failure data, is true is like false. Now you can get the promise object. You can get the promise object. Yes. Okay. From the promise object, I want failure data. How we can get the failure data? By using catch. Okay, now here, this is my data. If it is like a failure, my data is like 0 or not. Now say this, my data is like 0. So the thing is, the asynchronous action results, we can get it through promises or callbacks or observables. Okay, so whenever the asynchronous action result you are getting through promise object, how many ways we can retrieve the data from the promise object? Means 2 ways. One is like using promise class methods like then, catch, and finally. Another one is like await is the keyword. Await is the keyword. Now let's go with the await keyword. Okay, very simple. This is my promise object. Okay, rejected data is there. That's okay. Let's go with the success data first. Let's go with the success data. Now this is my promise object. This is my promise object. My promise object dot, my promise object is like a success data which contains. Using await, I want the data, right? So await is the keyword, always follows the promise object. Await is the keyword which is always follow the promise object. If the promise object has the success data, that success data it is going to give it to us. Okay, so this is my success data. Whenever you have the success data in your hand, okay, you can do whatever you want. Now see, I have the success data 100 or not. So await keyword always follows the promise object and returns me the success data from the promise object. But do you think always promise object has the success data? Do you think always promise object has the success data? No, right? Sometimes it's like a failure also. False, right? Okay, if my promise object has failure data, how? If my promise object has failure data, then that time my await keyword is not gives me the failure response. Okay, see my response 0 I want. Now see my await keyword, it's like uncaught to 0. Uncaught is nothing but exception raised, which is not caught, which is not catch. So whenever you use await keyword, success data it is going to return. If you want the failure data, you can use exception handling concept. You can use like a exception handling concept. Whenever you use like exception handling, if it is like a failure, my catch block executed with that failure data. Now see this, my catch block is executed with the failure data or not. Understood? If you want exception handling, if you want to learn, okay, if you want to learn exception handling, tomorrow we have a workshop, okay, 9 a.m. Handling exceptions in JavaScript to Java and Python also. JavaScript to Java and Python. Just we are going to compare these three programming languages, how to handle the exceptions. If you want, you can join that. Okay. So this is the way we can, okay, this is the way we can pass the data through promises, and this is the way we can hold the data. Okay, we can take the data from the promise object by using then catch, by using await. Understood? Okay, how to pass the data and how to take the data, asynchronous actions data, I mean. Anyone have any questions? Okay, these are the things are enough, okay, to start our Angular. Okay, local storage, browser storage is also there. We'll discuss those one whenever it is required. Okay, so Monday onwards, we are going to directly work on Angular concepts. Okay, then thank you guys. Thanks for joining.
Sir, observables.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is observables?
Observables and promises. Okay, observables here, both are used for to send the data. Okay, asynchronous actions data. Promises and observables, there has some differences over there. Promises is like emits the data only one time, but observables is like multiple times we can emit. Okay, now if you want, you can go through this one. Okay, this is like a JavaScript topic. Go to javascript.com. Same kind of syntax only. Let's go with JS. Promises versus observables. Okay, now say this. If you want to create a promise is the class you can create. If you want to create an observable is the class. Here the function called by passing two parameters. Here the function called by passing one object. Okay, observable is going to emit the, okay, how to use the observable, how to use the promise means you have a promise object, you can get the data using then catch like that. If you have an observable, you can get the data by using subscribe, not then, not catch, subscribe. Promise is like emit only one value, that is like first value, either resolve or reject. But observables emit any number of values, next to next to next. Okay, in between errors also there you can. Eager and lazy. Promise call this callback eagerly. First time load only it is going to call this callback. But observables is like call this callback whenever you subscribe. Whenever you subscribe, it is going to call. These many differences are there. Okay, just you can go through this video. You can understand.
Okay, sir.
Okay, this is also one way to pass the data From where to where? Pass my asynchronous actions data to my caller. This is also one more way.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then thank you guys. Thanks for joining. We'll continue the things on Monday.